Hello, I'm Chef Joe Robbins. I'm Penobscot. Today we're cooking seared salmon alongside of a pumpkin mushroom puree. And we're also using some sweet ferns that have been foraged locally along with some Rice Krispie cereal to make a crispy topping. So today we're using ingredients that come from the USDA Commodity Food Program. So that's why we have canned ingredients as well as foraged ingredients as well as frozen ingredients. Just kind of trying to show what a typical Native American household may have used or may still use today. I grew up on the Penobscot River. The salmon culture there is very strong, and it's a dish that to me makes sense that the salmon come up to spawn in the spring, sweet ferns are growing, something that just works in nature. It would definitely work on a plate as well. Start the recipe, you're going to want to start right off with your sweet ferns. Kind of want to give them a good rough chop. Doesn't have to be too particular. Just breaking them up so that they can release all that flavor into the cereal. So what I like to do is get the tray, get a little oil on it first. Just kind of give it almost like you're spinning a steering wheel. Put your Rice Krispies in there. And if you just give it a shake, so you want that oil to heat at the same rate as everything else, so it kind of moves that flavor through everything and everything gets well coated. Whatever you do, don't worry about too little or too much oil. Fortunate thing with oil, with vegetable oil in particular, is it has a 450 smoke point, and we're using a 375 oven, so you don't really have to worry about burning it. It's not going to get to the temperature that it would take to burn it. And then just pop it into a 375-degree oven. So now we're going to prep our salmon. Beautiful thing about salmon is it kind of comes with directions. And people kind of laugh when I say that, but it's one of the few things that you can see every single vein, you can see every single line in it, and it makes it very, very easy to butcher. A lot of people get intimidated by it. However, like I said, the directions are right there. So what I like to do, good sharp knife, something small and flexible. Start right at the end here and make your way all the way down the center line. If you don't penetrate the skin, it's not a problem. You really just want this beginning line to start and really give you a good guide here for all your portioning. And then I kind of come back, work it down again. Again, check your work. You can actually flip it the other way too. Same thing. And one more time. This is the point when you want to put a little more pressure safely, hands out of the way. And again, check your work. Coming together beautifully. There. So once you get that in this place, beautiful. So yeah, you just want to figure out what size pieces you want, how many people you're serving. I like to kind of portion the loin side a little bit different. And imagine how you're going to saute this, how you're going to flip it, what you have for instruments to flip it, and kind of size that to that. So I just want to get a few nice portions. I'm actually going to switch knives for this section of it, just because of the cross-cutting. And you'll keep that tight kind of cross-section like that. There, got some nice portions there. For today's recipe, we don't need the whole fish, so I would save that for any other recipes you might want. So for this recipe, we're leaving the skin on. Many recipes don't really call for that. Personally, when I saute, especially in something in a nonstick pan, we're going high heat, and a fair amount of oil. That skin's gonna help cook the fish as well as keep it whole and not break apart and spread. So that's what we're gonna do today. Yeah, you wanna start off with high heat. Make sure nothing's in the way to get burned. Be very liberal with the oil. As you're looking at this oil, you're gonna pay attention and make sure it's not smoking, because when it reaches its smoke point, that's when it tends to burn. So select your piece of salmon. I'm gonna use this guy right here. It looks the best. We're gonna season with a little bit of salt, because we are using soy sauce, so you don't need to go crazy with that. And a little bit of pepper on just the flesh side. And then now that you can see the oil's got a little bit of shimmer to it, but no smoke, that's when I'm getting ready to drop in and drop away from you so you don't splash yourself. I like to put a little bit of down pressure on it and just kind of give it a little massage just to ensure that that does not stick in any way. And there you go. Certainly want to give that a good 2 to 3 minutes depending on thickness. A thickness like this for me, because we're also going to finish roasting it in the oven later, I'm just going to try and look for these colors to change. Once it's about halfway up, that it's getting a little bit more pale, that's when I'm going to start thinking about our additions to this. And our additions to this today are soy sauce and ginger. We're looking pretty good at this point. Once you get to that halfway, you're gonna want to drop your flame down to about medium. You really want to get in that ginger. Just kind of go right over the top of it. A little bit of this soy sauce, and be careful when you put it in because it will splash a tiny bit. Get it around to infuse every bit of that salmon. And then at this point, you want to drop in just a few pads of butter and turn your heat completely off at this point. You also want to get a large spoon. Keep your butter moving so it's not to burn, and just baste that salmon as much as you possibly can until every pad is completely melted. Pretty happy with the way that looks. Nothing's sticking, nothing is causing any problems at all. So this is the point where you're going to want to have a small wire rack. You're going to set that right on top. This makes it able for all the heat to kind of work around it and cook from both the bottom and top at the same time. And then we save everything in here because you may need that to bring more moisture back in as it's in the oven. And there's always that possibility. It could dry out a little bit, but you don't really know. So you save these things to make adjustments later. And pop into the oven. Yeah, when you're cooking salmon, everybody's got a little bit of a preference on that, and it is okay to eat anywhere from medium to well done. So as far as your time in the oven, that's very much a personal preference. Once I've cooked it in the frying pan, I'm trying to get right to medium, so I'm just kind of bringing it in a range. So that could be anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how thick that piece of salmon is. But constantly looking at it and adjusting and feeling that salmon and seeing how well it's coming along and how firm it is. But once it's firm, and if that's what you're looking for, is well done. And the Rice Krispies, it's really just cooking until they're golden. Everything within that part of the recipe is safe to eat raw or cooked. So there's no health risk there at all. So for our puree that our salmon's gonna be sitting on, it's the creamy element of this whole dish. You're gonna start off with a whole can of creamy mushroom soup. You're gonna wanna get your heat on before you put the mushroom soup in. You might wanna start off with just a little bit of water, just so that you can get everything moving and working together quicker. Get a can opener for your pumpkin puree. Everybody thinks of pumpkin and they think of pumpkin pie, and that's generally the only way they eat it. However, at one time, pumpkin would have been just as much a savory ingredient as it is a sweet one. Has a lot of natural sweetness. However, when you complement it with other ingredients, earthy ingredients, especially like mushroom, it can take on a lot of different flavors. In this particular recipe, I thought it would go really well with something that's naturally sweet like the ferns, as well as something that has some earthiness like the mushroom. Just kind of work that in. And the cool thing about this is you can constantly adjust it to what you want by using water, or if you want to, you could also use vegetable stock, chicken stock, anything that would pair well with the dish. Just kind of keep working it. Until everything's kind of mixed together. And also, for just a little bit of kick, it's optional, but I do like to add just a tiny bit of hot sauce to balance out all the flavors that are coming through with all the ingredients we're using today. Work that in just like everything else. Maybe just a touch more water. So this is about the consistency and viscosity that I like to have with this. Once you get to that point, you can kill the heat completely. There's a lot of residual heat there. So that's when I'd like to add just a few pads of butter. And this will actually gloss up and help thicken the sauce just a tiny bit. And that can basically just sit and simmer off to the side. As you're waiting for your salmon and your Rice Krispies to get done, that can sit and hold. Our salmon's finally done, just pulled out of the oven. So we're gonna plate this up and I'll show you the order that I like to go in. I like to start sauce first. Pretty much just start with a good base layer. Give a nice little bed for your beautifully cooked piece of salmon to sit in. So like I said, putting on this wire rack allows the heat source to cook it from every direction. So it really helps with crisping that skin and making it very well cooked all the way through. Can always use more of that fat that we cooked it in with the ginger and salt and pepper infusion there, just to give it a little more flavor. And then we have our Rice Krispie and sweet fern topper, I guess you'd call it. You can use this not only in this dish, but you could also use it on top of salads or any other type of protein. It goes real well with, especially something as tender and flaky as salmon. And so there you have it. This is the salmon and pumpkin puree. Thanks for watching.